All right, guys, welcome back to the 10 count. We're here to discuss Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna that happened last night. Um, I was very
Let's
impressed.
go.
I was very impressed, to be honest with you guys. I wasn't expecting him to look. I expected him to struggle somewhat against Fortuna,
I
at
also,
least a little bit.
Yeah,
I
to the
also,
untrained
yeah,
eye, he seems spectacular. Go ahead, Christian.
fuck you.
Go ahead, say what you gotta
Oh,
say.
me? All right. I done did told y'all Garcia was gonna smoke this dude. Everybody
he,
was saying that he was stuck in a mental issue, that he was having vacation, that he didn't want that smoke. Look what happened. Rolled over him like nothing.
hey, but you didn't. You said you did not say he was gonna
No,
stop him like this. I don't even think
look,
you said you were picking Garcia to knock him out.
no, I mean, I had him like you, kind of, 30, 30, 70. Fortuna it's a strong opponent. If you ask me, he's stronger than Luke Campbell. More experience.
Mm.
Um, come on, man. Yeah, come on, bro. Has
Luke
more
Campbell's a gold
experience.
medalist, bro.
More. Yes, no, yes, but I'm talking about being in there with champions, bro. Fortuna's been in there. He's lost. He's lost to them, but he's been in there. Wasn't he? Isn't he a two-time division champion?
I'm not
Fortuna?
sure.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
so. I don't think so.
I'm pretty
Let, let,
sure.
let
Pretty
me
sure.
tell you. Let me tell you guys what I saw, okay? Because I have a trained eye. So Fortuna, he was above his weight class. I think we all know that. If you didn't know that by now, that was not his weight class.
Yeah, I thought wasn't it announced that they were gonna fight at 135 in the
Number
beginning?
two, number two, we all knew that his age was going to show because Ryan Garcia he's young and he's fucking fast and explosive. When we all knew that.
Here comes the excuses.
And I thought that Fortuna was gonna be more cagey, I guess you can say. Like he was gonna fight back more. He did not. He tried,
He tried.
and he landed some, not very many, honestly. But let me tell you what I saw. Okay, because I knew Ryan Garcia was gonna win. I thought it was gonna be later, like in the eighth, ninth round. I thought Fortuna was gonna fight back and actually get some hits, maybe drop him or hurt him. Did not happen. But what I saw is Ryan Garcia not pressing when he should have pressed. I saw him flinch a bunch of times and he reacted to all of Fortuna's feints, all of them. After he dropped them the first time, when Fortuna started doing this shit with his hands down like this, one of those times he went like this, and Ryan Garcia literally went like this. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but he literally did this shit right here. He turned and he did this. He was reacting to everything, and let me tell you, that's the reason why Fortuna lasted so long because every time something would happen, he would faint, and Ryan Garcia would think twice, or he would pull his punches because he would do this, but not like put his body into it. He would just like arm punches,
Yeah, yeah.
fast, fast, but just arms. So that leads me to believe, yeah, I mean he did good. Ryan Garcia controlled it, dropped him 3 times, knocked him out like he was supposed to.
So if you had to give him a grade, what would you give him?
Does he does he survive against Gervonta Davis? I don't
I
think
think he
so.
does. I think he
I don't think
does.
so.
I
I
think
I
he
think
does.
think.
he reacts.
Look,
I think he reacts to everything, and he fights nervous
let me tell
as
you. Let me
fuck.
tell you. Let me tell you what I saw.
He
Okay.
always fights like that, though. He
Let
always
me
Gervonta
tell
fights
says
like
you.
that.
Gervonta Davis's speed is a lot better than Fortuna's, and his power is just fucking up there, dude. He's gonna land some
Yeah,
shots, and Garcia's
it's
not gonna
true.
know what the fuck to do.
Let me
It's
tell
true.
you. Let me tell you what I saw. Okay. I saw Fortuna not have a good game plan. Okay.
Hmm?
From what I saw, he expected Ryan Garcia to still be open to that shot from Luke Campbell. That is the same thing that Garcia saw. And what I saw was Ryan Garcia actually keeping his left hand up. But Fortuna, instead of trying to throw it straight or throw the left hand in a different way to keep him
He's
guessing,
looping,
he kept
looping the
throwing
fuck
the
out of him.
same punch over and over and over. He never tried anything else. So I was saying Christian and Alejandro, and we're watching it. I was like, Fortuna should be throwing the left to the body and throwing the straight left to keep him guessing where the left hand's coming from instead of just throwing it the same way. And he kept throwing it the same way. And I thought that Garcia did a good job at setting up the left hand because he was throwing right hands a lot and he was landing the straight rights. And I told
Yep.
Christian, I was like, well, most of his power is from the left hand though. He doesn't really, have the explosive power that we've seen from him with the right hand.
Yeah,
and
it's
he
not
was
at that weight
throwing.
class too.
Yes, and he was throwing the right hand a lot. And then later we did see him bring the left hook after the right hand. So he was clearly setting it up. He wasn't just throwing it like he usually does, which
No,
is the parts that I was impressed. I was impressed that he improved his defense a little bit. He set up his punches a little bit more. He did bite on a lot of the feints, but he did say at the interview that Fortuna did hit hard, that he felt the power. So
I didn't
obviously,
hear that. I didn't hear that part.
yeah, he said in the interview that Fortuna hit hard.
That's
So,
rough.
so he was for sure trying to be careful. And honestly, I there was a tweet from Gervonta Davis after the fight, and he said, "See ya at the end of the year." So I'm assuming Mayweather had already said that supposedly he's fighting McGregor again. He had said he wanted Davis and Garcia on the undercard. So it might seem that now, because it's beneficial for Mayweather to sell the McGregor fight to have Gervonta Davis and Garcia on the
On
undercard,
the card. Yep.
it's gonna sell the pay per view a lot more
Mm,
than if it was just Mayweather versus McGregor. So
yeah.
he's stacking the cards so people will
So
watch.
let me tell you something. What's more intriguing for me than Davis against Ryan Garcia? Because for me, that's like a gimmick fight. Like Gervonta Davis is gonna knock his ass out.
Davis against any other champion, actual
Davis,
champion.
Davis against Haney.
But Haney's
I
fighting
think will
Cambosos
be
again though.
no. They interviewed him. You guys didn't watch that? It
He
was
said
during the
they're
broadcast.
fighting again.
No, he said they said probably Cambosos is next. But what would you like if we didn't have that fight lined up?
If you
And he
didn't
said
have it lined up.
no. Well, he answered and he said, well, the Cambosos fight is not a for sure thing yet. We're still looking at other options or seeing what's going on. He said the Cambosos is not like my next fight. He said we're talking about it. He said we're in talks, but it's not my next fight. It's not like for sure.
Mm.
You guys didn't hear that?
No,
Yeah,
no.
he
Well,
literally
no,
said
no.
that's not a for sure thing. He said we're looking at other options right now.
I think he's gonna have to fight Cambosos at some point, but Cambosos doesn't have to bring the rematch out immediately. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But honestly, they're both good matchups. But the more exciting matchup is the one with Garcia because there's a
With
thing.
Davis, you mean?
No, Garcia and Davis because they both hit hard and they both be
Mhm.
knocking people out. If we watch a Davis versus Haney fight, either Davis is gonna knock out Haney or Haney's gonna outbox him for 12 rounds. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I meant
So,
I meant I meant Garcia and Haney. That's what I said. Garcia versus Haney.
oh, okay. I thought you were saying
I think
Garcia.
I think
Okay.
stylistically it will be
Oh,
really
man.
interesting because they're both really fast. They're both tall and long, and it will be like a matchup of like technique versus skill.
I
Because
think
Ryan Garcia has physical skill.
I think
That's what
I
he has.
think
He's got power and he's got speed.
yeah, bro. But
But Haney has technique, dude,
I think
and I think that
Haney
would be really good.
I think Haney boxes the shit out of Ryan Garcia. Honestly,
I don't think
know.
so, dude. I
I
don't think
think
I
so.
so.
think I think that's the worst matchup for Garcia. To be honest with you, for
I
for a
think
couple
so.
of
I think
reasons.
so too. I think so
For
too.
one, Haney already beat him like 2 or 3 times in the amateur, so he already has a mental
Yeah,
edge over him,
That's
especially
the
with
thing.
exactly.
especially with the
That's
way
why I
that
think it will
Garcia
be
is,
interesting.
And there's the thing, Garcia has a huge advantage in the way that he fights because he's usually a lot bigger than everybody that he fights.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Devin Haney is around the same height as him, and I know for sure Devin Haney has that freak Terrence Crawford reach for his weight
Yep,
class, and he has a lot of reach.
yep.
So
Yeah.
I think I was telling Christian when we were watching the fight yesterday. I was like, it'd be interesting to see him against Haney because Haney's the same size as him. You know what I mean? I was
Mhm.
like, so Garcia won't have that advantage that he usually has. But I think Devin Haney beats him. You know what I mean? I mean,
He's.
Ryan could land that punch, but I think he
I
beats
think
him.
he can. I think. I don't think so, dude. I don't know. Well, like you
I
said,
think so. I think
maybe.
so. I,
Maybe. But I think Garcia actually fights back in that fight without being scared and shit, and
yeah,
bring.
but look,
I think
look.
that. I
That
think
that
that fight
la,
will
the
bring
la,
it out of Ryan Garcia.
but look, bro. The last boxer that he fought, that actually was like um actual boxer was that African dude, and look how that fight turned out. Yeah, Ryan won because the other dude didn't have the skills, but it was a boring fight. The dude just circled around him the whole time. Ryan didn't know how to go in. He didn't know how to
Yeah.
cut the ring. He didn't know.
Yeah.
So if he fights with somebody like Haney,
Mm.
he's gonna outclass him. Bro.
Yeah, he's just
That's
gonna
what I
walk
think.
around. He's just
Yeah,
gonna walk behind him and shit, and
yeah.
follow
Let
him
me tell
around.
you. Let me tell you what I think. Let me tell you what I think. Okay, I think Haney might even be able to drop Garcia because Garcia, not
Uh,
because Haney has the power, but
I don't
because
know about that.
he's able to set up shots that you're not gonna see coming. And the reason that
Yeah,
he got dropped against Luke Campbell isn't because Luke Campbell
he
hits
got set
hard,
up.
it's because
Yeah,
he didn't see it coming. Okay, and Devin Haney's not gonna throw the same punch over and over like Fortuna. He's gonna set him up, and Garcia might run into something. Because I feel like Garcia is one of the ones that thinks that Devin Haney has no chin, and he's gonna walk in there and steamroll him. And I think that might be a mistake to just walk in like that. Cause I think I've said it before. The reason that Devin Haney hasn't gotten knocked out is because he hits hard enough to keep people honest. He doesn't
yeah.
have devastating power, but he has
Speed.
something. Yes,
Hmm.
and he hits you often and clean enough for you to not want to go in.
Like Mayweather.
Yes, exactly. So I think Garcia might try going in for a knockout and might end up getting caught or something. But
Yeah,
I also don't want to see that fight next because I don't think Ryan Garcia has done enough to warrant an undisputed fight
I
with
agree.
somebody like Devin Haney. He definitely needs another top two wins at least to be
I
able to get
agree.
that fight. Now
I don't know.
obviously,
okay,
honestly,
so
if he
what do you
was
guys
to
think?
go, all right, go ahead.
So okay, we decided who will win Ryan Garcia versus Haney. But what about Davis? He hasn't even said anything about that.
With Devin
I think
Haney
I,
Davis knocks him out.
I
No,
don't think
Garcia.
so.
We're talking
with
about Garcia.
Garcia,
No.
Hmm.
uh, I think it's a good fight because they both have power. Now, there's the thing I was saying, Christian.
I think
Romero was outboxing Davis for a while, and I was
He was not
thinking
outboxing
he
him.
was definitely outboxing him. And
He was,
now the thing is,
he was winning the rounds for sure. He was winning the rounds.
I think that Davis he doesn't care about losing rounds because he knows eventually he's gonna find the punch.
I
And
thought Davis was.
I feel like that's what he did with Romero. He was losing the rounds and he was looking for the punch and he landed it. And I feel like it gives his opponent confidence and it makes him open up. And I think that's the same thing that will happen with Garcia.
Yeah.
They'll start the fight. Garcia might win the first 2 3 rounds, and then David is gonna catch him eventually.
like that.
Yep, yep.
I don't know.
I don't think Garcia's gonna stand up like Rolly did. I think if he
What
goes
if
I,
down, he stays
what
down.
if Garcia starts attacking the body, yo? I didn't think
that's
about that.
that's that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
that's very
Listen,
dangerous
bro.
because then you're opening yourself up to
Yeah,
a headshot.
he'll open himself to a headshot. But what if he lands a few liver shots and starts wearing down Gervonta Davis and shit?
That's
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 definitely
exactly
possible.
that's
I don't
exactly what I
know.
think is gonna happen. Um, I don't think it's as easy as everybody thinks it's gonna be for Davis.
I didn't say it was gonna be easy, but I think he'll
Gar-
favor him out.
Garcia is really lengthy. He's really fast. I think if he's faster than Davis, if you ask me. I think Davis has a little bit more power than Garcia, but Garcia has power. I think it could be interesting. I don't think well, not like you guys said, but I think a lot of people are just counting Garcia out, and I don't think it'd be that easy for him.
You know what I just thought of? I think it makes sense now why Garcia's been fighting at 140 his last 2 fights. He's trying to get that extra weight on to try and take punches a little bit better. Because he said he's not going to go back down and fight Davis at
Yeah, he's not
135.
going back
He
down.
wants him
Yeah.
to fight at 140. So I think he's trying to keep a little bit of weight on. Plus, we saw at 140 against Barrios, Davis' power wasn't as devastating as it is at 135.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
think
he
that's
was a little
smart.
bit slower. He
That's
was a little
smart
bit
for
slower.
Garcia,
Yeah,
and Garcia looked good. So it's interesting. I don't think
I
it's a
think it's a
hundred
power move.
percent Davis fight. I think it's like I don't know 60-40 for Davis.
I think his move to 140 is definitely a power move from Garcia to try to get an edge, like if they fight.
Because he's bigger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's,
but
it'll be interesting.
I still don't think it would matter that much.
I think it does a little bit.
The way that Garcia was eating those feints against
Mhm.
Fortuna makes me think that he's just gonna eat every feint that Gervonta Davis puts out there, and eventually he's just gonna get caught doing some stupid shit like this, trying to get out of the way or doing this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hmm,
I think Davis might go to his body. Honestly, that's probably the smartest thing for Davis to do. Break him down to the body. He's gonna
I
bring the
think
hands down.
I think Garcia's gonna go to
I
the
think
body.
honestly, I really think Garcia's defense sucks, bad,
I didn't say it's
like
great.
bad.
I say it looked better than it did in his last couple of fights. He was blocking the shot.
I think it's bad, dude. I think it's bad. I think his best defense is fucking offense.
Yeah,
I think Garcia looked really good in this fight, and
he
I
looked
also
good.
He
think
did.
I,
He
I
did.
also think it was an improvement to change camps. I don't think Reynoso had the time for him, and that was like a good thing to do. Um, so I give him all the props. Honestly, I didn't think I knew he was gonna win, but I didn't think he was gonna look this good against somebody like Fortuna.
I thought he was gonna struggle at least a little bit, and he didn't. So I was
I thought Fortuna was gonna look better.
a good way to put it. I mean, I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good.
Hmm?
You know, he looked better than his last fight for sure. I'm interested to see who he fights next. I mean,
Same.
the whole 130,
Same.
all the way from
What about
130.
Pitbull? What about Pitbull?
Pitbull Cruz actually did a podcast with Morales a couple days ago. My dad was telling me about it, and he said that he's not interested in the Garcia fight. That what he wants is the Davis rematch. So that's what
Yeah,
he's chasing.
scared.
So
Scared.
I don't think he's scared. I think
You know,
he doesn't think Garcia. It's
you
because
know,
there's a thing.
you
Garcia
don't want that
talks.
smoke.
He wants
Garcia talks too much and doesn't do
You don't
enough
want that
action.
smoke. You don't want the
And
smoke.
you know that's what it is. So Christian Garcia had one good fight again, and Christian turned back into a
Yeah.
Garcia fanboy.
That's
Before
number
he,
one pound.
before hey,
Number
you
one
remember?
pound for pound.
You remember before we were
Never
like,
said pound for pound. Fuck
you remember
yeah.
before we were like, get your boy. He was like, that's not my boy. I don't even like him. And now
Well,
he's like,
there was
no,
a
he's
period
scared.
of time where he wasn't disciplined. He was all over Twitter and he wasn't fighting and shit. So yeah, I agree.
You mean
I was
you mean
talking-
like
I
you
was
mean like
talking
6
shit
months
on him.
ago? You mean like 6 months ago?
No, because he started fighting back. Listen, he has a lot of talent and a lot of potential. But that all depends on whether he's disciplined and he stays focused on the boxing. He doesn't need boxing, bro. Honestly, and,
No, he
and
doesn't.
it's hard to stay focused into something that's so hard when you don't need it.
Did you guys see the
So-
video that he did? He did an interview and he was like, everybody thinks I'm spoon fed and this and that, but I actually came from the hood. Like I grew up in like rough areas and this and that and blah blah. He's like the gangs from LA will come live where I was living at. Like it was rough. He's like Devin Haney's the one that spoon fed. He was like when we were gonna spar when we were younger, they sent somebody to pick me up and they sent a limo. He's like, they picked me up in the limo. He's like Devin Haney's the one that spoon fed. But Devin Haney's from Oakland.
Yeah.
Like, and then he's over here talking about how he had a rough childhood and everything. I don't believe none of that.
Oakland's pretty rough.
I don't know.
Look.
You know what I would think would be funny? The fucking press conferences with fucking Garcia and Haney talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
They're so
Even the Davis,
awkward.
You know why? Yeah, because of that.
so
Because whenever
awkward
they
with
talk
each other.
shit, I feel like they're just faking the fuck out of it.
I mean, they have a lot of history. They have a lot of history. You know what I mean?
I
That's
know,
the thing.
but when they talk shit to their opponents, I feel like
Yeah.
they're just faking.
Yeah,
the fuck,
they're
like, big time.
awkward.
Yeah.
They're awkward. It
Yeah.
sounds fake as hell.
I'd like to see it. I mean, I think any of those matchups is exciting, and everybody's ducking the man, the myth, the legend himself, Lomachenko. Nobody talks about Lomachenko. Everybody's trying to avoid him, but Lomachenko already told Bob Arum. He already told Bob Arum already he's ready to fight. So
How old is
Yeah, he said he wants
Lomachenko?
Haney. He said he wants Haney.
I want to say like 33, 34, something like
Really?
that.
He's still that
Lomachenko-
young?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks old.
Yeah.
Lomachenko wants Haney, dude, and Haney. I heard Haney say in the interview, Dave, that's the fight that the people
Yeah.
want. That he'll take it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he'll fight Garcia next, but if he doesn't fight Cambosos, it's probably definitely Lomachenko.
I think Lomachenko's a hard fight for anybody, even Davis. I still think Gervonta Davis knocks him out.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have any finishing thoughts on Garcia?
Mm?
King Ray is back.
Mm.
What the fuck was that?
Too soon.
I don't know.
Too soon.
I'm gonna make that into a gift right there.
I think it's too soon to say that, but he looked better than his last fights.
He's back.
He looked
bro.
good.
He's
He
back.
looked good. He looked good.
Let's go.
He looked a lot. It's because there's a thing you have to take into consideration who the opponent was, and everybody thought Fortuna would at least make him struggle, take him late, and he completely dominated. So
That's what
he
I'm-
looked
that's what I'm
good.
saying. That's what
He
I'm
looked
saying.
good. All right. Well, that does it.
What's
What?
the next fight? Hold on.
Next fight?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me
I have. It's because I watched UFC fights yesterday too, so I know the UFC schedule right now. But the boxing one,
Oh, the Danny Garcia against Jose Benavidez is next week.
That's
it's
gonna
next
be
week
good.
already.
In a week and a
see.
half. In a week and a half.
Look at that.
We'll see
And then
how
after
good
that,
he is.
we get Broner and Figueroa. So
Eh.
After
Okay,
that,
alright,
we
alright.
get Lopez. We get Lopez.
Okay.
wait,
come
we're
back.
also sometime in the next month too. We have Usyk and Joshua.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
what I was
that
gonna
one's
tell you.
gonna
The
be
20th.
good.
That's a month from now. The
That one's
20th.
gonna be good.
All right, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good fights.
Yeah.
So we'll be here. I know the content's coming out a little slow, but just because boxing's been a little slow. So
A little bit.
We'll be here. We'll be here. Tune in, guys.
Yes,
Subscribe.
sir.
Subscribe so you guys can see Christian do the Wakanda sign again.
It's not Wakanda. It's the executioner, bro. We're
Oh.
boxing, boxing, not
All
Marvel,
right,
bitch.
all right. That closes us out here at the Tank On, guys. See you next time.
Dude.
Tank, you better be ready.